Hello everyone and welcome. Last time we were about halfway through Turkmenistan and took a sleep at this service station in a small town. Today we will see some more amazing landscapes. Driving through the desert under a beautiful looking sky with clouds in the distance. And I'll try to make some cool photos, screenshots if you will, and you will be the judge of those if they are any good or not. But we will see them. Then I will struggle to find the rest station until crossing the border to Uzbekistan. Somehow I couldn't find any. Then find a weird spot to go to sleep while still parked on the road. We will see some Uzbek towns, then cross to Tajikistan and see some towns there too. But then we get to the real good stuff. A beautiful mountain range, a scenic route taking us all the way up to the border with Kyrgyzstan. As always, along the way I'll be talking stuff, but for all of that, we need to get out of this town first. Let's see where we are going. We need to turn right. I guess that's it and we will be out of the town. Well, speaking of where we are going, I don't like this map sitting on the bottom right of the screen. Without it, some intersections get tricky sometimes, but I would prefer if I could see it but not have it in the video somehow, if that's even possible. But still, we can actually address that right now. From now on, I'll fix something there for the whole video. And I thought of something. I saw this funny post on social media showing how F1 drivers would look as NASCAR drivers or truckers. So how about we put the most recent winner as the driver of the episode? For example, Leclerc won the last Formula 1 race in Monza. For this video, I think I'm a little bit late. I had some problems and had to edit this video a bit later, so probably the next race is already finished and we have a new winner, but I'll use that for the next video. So the last one was Charles Leclerc. And there it goes. Leclerc, the truck driver, is with us from now on for the entire video. And in the next video, we will have the winner of Baku. If there is no race, then we make a trucker version of Taylor Swift and have that instead. How about that? We can actually create new ones depending whatever is happening any given week. I can see it getting hilarious and even out of hand sometimes. But I think it can be fun. Imagine all the people you can pick to see as a trucker. So yeah, alright, we sorted one thing already. But there are many things to sort out, to be honest. One is that I really don't like the way I talked in previous videos, because it doesn't feel natural. First I prepare some content and then I'll try to explain what I want to explain. However, it doesn't go like a dialogue between two people. It goes more like, oh, I don't like the way this sentence sounds, so I will retake it. I will record it again and I will try again and again until I'm happy with it. And the fact is that you're never happy with it because it sounds artificial. At least to my own ears, I know how I talk and I don't talk like that. It is quite choppy, and because of all the retakes and all the editing, it kinda sounds like a choppy documentary or something, and it's not David Attenborough presenting the documentary, so not much fun really. So I thought, instead of recording over and over, I'll just try to be more myself and just try to enjoy myself. And it is kind of tricky because you worry about how you come across, if you sound nice, if you pronounce things properly, if the things you're explaining make sense, or is it just coming across as random mumbling. And I even make fun of myself saying that I'll be rambling and so on, but in the end you worry about all those things and it stops you from progressing, I think. So yeah, I think it is better to make some mistakes, sound weird sometimes maybe, but stick to being more fluid and authentic, which I think will at least make me feel more satisfied. So I'll be doing that from now on. About the topics and stuff I talk about, I think I will lean towards more commentary and reaction than just dropping information. I'm also thinking about putting out some questions, interesting questions out there, and share the answers later on in the video and things like that. So far, I don't have much of a feedback from anyone, which means all I can do is just doing what I like and hope that you like it. I think that's enough talk about the content subject. We have our truck driver, Charles Leclerc. We have a beautiful landscape. Let's move a bit. Well, I want to make some photos, but the sun is behind us and the truck is looking really dark, so I'm not sure if any angle works. Maybe we'll find a better place later on. Gonna keep moving on. Well, this place seems much better, but the sun is still behind us, so I guess I will turn it around. Yeah, look at that. Let's turn it around. This is much better. Not the best setup or the coolest truck, but we'll get there. We are on a tiny dirt road and looks like we need to turn left, but I'm not so sure anymore if the map is complete. Where are we going? I haven't seen any rest stations or anything along the way. Well, map says there are some gas stations and soon we will be crossing to Uzbekistan. After a short drive through Uzbekistan we will cross to Tajikistan. But we better find something very soon. Leclerc is falling asleep almost and there is nothing on these roads. There you go, he's yawning. I hope we get to something before having a crash. Because it's also getting darker, it will be quite tricky to handle the blackouts. We are approaching the gas station. It's on the right. But what is that? It's just a truck parked on the side of the road, and that's where you are supposed to fill it up. And no space to park, I guess. I don't see any bad sign on the map. Something else is going on a little bit ahead. What is it? some trucks parked on the side of the road, and some guys are just standing around and chatting. Just look at them. So random. But I like such details. It's a good touch. Because real life is like this. It's random. You see random people doing random stuff. It is kind of boring to see the same thing repeating itself throughout the entire game. So that's good. But there must be something nearby. I'm seeing there should be some rest station here. I can see the bed sign. But this is a map extension, so who knows if it works or where exactly it's placed, where I should be parked. I guess it's in there. Come on, give me something. Any spot will do. Just let me park. There is a bed sign for sure, but it's nowhere to be found. I couldn't find it, I couldn't park the truck, and there's something invisible in the middle that the truck kept touching as I was trying to turn. It was really annoying, but we just need to keep pushing. The border must be pretty close, and I guess there we should have something. Just as I thought, we weren't too far from the border, and there are some parking opportunities, it seems. Gonna try here. Nope, no chance of parking. There is the border. Is this the border? Just a fence, a gate, with a guy standing in the middle and a container? Look at that old truck there. So are we in Uzbekistan now? I'm not sure what's going on. If that was a border or not, nothing popped up. Maybe it's a little further. There are some lights in the distance. Oh, some guy is just walking in the dark. I guess that was just a checkpoint and this is the border for real. There are more lights, more infrastructure, more everything for sure. Is that thing just hanging in the air? Yeah. Some sort of witchcraft going on. And some random people standing on the side. I guess this is the type of border crossing you would see in this region without any major cities around. That's the way it is, I guess. Yeah, now we are in Uzbekistan. We got the pop-up. There should be a place to park. I can literally see it on the map. It's on the left. And there are some trucks parked already. I'll just pull over to the left, and I hope this time we will be able to sleep. I won't waste any time for it. Yes, there we go. This is good. And Leclerc can fall asleep in peace. And good morning. Look at that professional parking skills of mine. We were still on the road and went to sleep. In real, you would get punished for that. Or at least someone would ask you to move and park the truck properly. But if that was the logic, we could just pull over anywhere and go to sleep. We wouldn't need to find a spot like this, would we? Anyway, it's daylight now, way better. We are in Uzbekistan. We will be able to see the landscape and enjoy the views. And I can tell you some things about Uzbekistan. I actually know some stuff about this country, but to make sure, I went on the internet to check some facts about Uzbekistan and found out some new stuff that I didn't know, and I learned a new term. Have you ever heard of the term double landlocked? I didn't, and I just figured out while searching for this. A double landlocked country is surrounded solely by landlocked nations, necessitating the crossing of at least two national borders to reach a coastline. That's what double landlocked means. And there are only two such countries on the planet, and the other one is Liechtenstein, which is in Europe. These two countries are the only ones which are double landlocked. I didn't know that. And the country was at the heart of the historic Silk Road, just like Turkmenistan and the other countries that we are going through after this one. We have been driving on the Silk Road for a while now, pretty much. And the place was occupied by Alexander the Great at some point in the history. That crazy dude came all the way here from Macedonia, from the Balkans, and he went to India and died in Babylon on his way back. But he conquered this place at some point, which is crazy. The country was conquered by many different nations at different times throughout the history, and funnily enough, the name of the country is coming from those experiences, I guess, because it was conquered by Genghis Khan, it was conquered by the Russian Empire, then it was a part of USSR till 1991. Since then, it's an independent country. We should get some gas here. Should be really cheap still. So, when you look at the word Uzbek or Uzbekistan, Uz means self, Bek means master, and Uzbekistan has this suffix at the end, stan, which is coming from Persian and means country. But if you try to make sense out of it in English, it would literally translate into the land of the free, which is beautiful. If you see someone on the street, a guy from Uzbekistan, you would call him Uzbek, and that means self-mastering, so the free one, a free person. So if you ever happen to visit the country, when you call someone an Uzbek, you will be calling them a free person, an independent person, and the country you are calling the land of the free, which is beautiful. But to most people, it is just a random Asian country with whatever name. But if you look into it, you will always find cool stuff. So these people were probably frustrated by getting conquered over and over Being a major place on the Silk Road, everyone was interested and they had a lot of troubles. And when they got their freedom, their independence, they named themselves the Land of the Free. Like in Turkmenistan, they also had an authoritarian leader for a long while, until his death in 2016. And they had some stupid practices, like every year around 1 million students, doctors and government employees were forced to work in cotton fields to pick cotton for the government. It went until 2021, when forced labor and systemic child labor were finally ended. The Aral Sea, located on the border of Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan, was once the world's fourth largest lake. Since the construction of a Soviet irrigation project in the 1960s, the lake has almost disappeared. It has been described as one of the planet's worst environmental disasters. I think that's enough information about Uzbekistan. Now, I want to ask a question, an interesting and tricky one. I wonder if anyone will even see it or try to answer it, but here it goes. There is a tiny island in a lake, on an island, in a lake, on an island, in the ocean. Can you name what it is? Or do you know where it is? The answer will be in the next video, and I'm curious if anyone will see the question, if anyone will watch until this point in the video and try to answer it. If someone does, that would make me really happy. But I will keep this concept. I guess I will keep asking some questions and give the answers in the following videos, and I hope it will become a fun game. Meanwhile, we enter the city. I didn't pay attention to its name. It popped up, but I don't know what it was. I don't think it's a long drive from here to Tajikistan border, so we should be there shortly. We can roll it a bit and discover the place. We arrived at Tajikistan border and just gonna go through the second gate. The landscape will change drastically. This country has some of the most beautiful mountain ranges in the world, and we will both drive through them and we will talk about them. But first, let's get to these mountains, and as we drive through them, we can talk about them alongside other interesting stuff about the place. And here we are approaching the real good stuff. These mountains are called the Pamir Mountains, and by the locals they are called the roof of the world. It is a common thing about Himalayas, about Andes in South America. The locals are always calling these mountains either roof of the world or something similar because they are so huge and majestic. We have a lot to talk about these mountains, but first let's go into some general information about Tajikistan. So the place was inhabited since 4000 BC at least. That's not fixed, but at least 4000 BC. Like its neighbors, it has been conquered by Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, and so on. And later on, it had different periods with separation, civil wars, being a part of USSR, and so on. But since 1991, after the fall of USSR, it became an independent country. And like its neighbors again, the stan at the end of the word is coming from the Persian language, which means land of. So it literally translates into land of Tajik. Tajik are the local people. And again, it's a landlocked country located on the Silk Road, and it has a really old and interesting culture. If we get back to the Pamir Mountains, we are currently at northwest of the K2 mountain in the Himalayas. South of Pamir Mountains is the range where actually Himalayas begin. It is north of Afghanistan and Pakistan where western Himalayas reach. And it's a really extremely mountainous country with over 90% of its land considered upland. The UNESCO listed Tajik National Park, which is called Mountains of the Pamirs, is located at the center of the so-called Pamir Knot, confluence of the highest mountain ranges on the Eurasian continent. The Fetchenko Glacier, I don't know if I pronounced it right or butchered it, but it is in the Pamir Mountains, and 77 kilometers long glacier is the longest glacier outside of the polar regions, which is an impressive sight to look at. And the amount of glaciers around here is also crazy. There are about 1085 glaciers on these mountains. Tajikistan is also home to the world's second highest altitude highway, the Pamir Highway, also known as the Ep.8. And the Pamir Highway is renowned for its spectacular scenery and remote route. And it is probably impossible to not have a spectacular scenery if you are driving through the second highest highway in the world through such a mountain range. You can't avoid but have amazing scenery. And on these mountains there is a lake. It is one of Tajikistan's most striking beauty spots, and it's called Iskanderkul, a mountain lake about 4 kilometers long and located at 2,195 meters high. The lake takes its name from Alexander the Great and is believed to be where his horse Bucephalus, again, am I butchering it? I don't know. Any Macedonians out there to correct me? If that's the way they still talk, I don't even know if that's the case. But so yeah, it's believed that that horse drowned in a battle in this lake. The water appears to change color during the day from turquoise to milky white. But about Alexander the Great, I mean, we are not in Macedonia, we are not driving through Macedonia right now, but I would really like to talk about Alexander the Great, that crazy dude. I mean, it is just crazy how much he achieved in such a short time. When he was at his 20s, he was struggling to get on the throne and he managed to do it. And from then on, he never stopped. For 12 or 13 years of his reign, he conquered entire Greece. He went through the Asia Minor, today's Turkey, Anatolia, and so on. He conquered the entire Middle East, went through the Persian Empire, reached to the Central Asia. We were talking about his deeds in Uzbekistan and now in Tajikistan. And then he went back south again, south of Himalayas, through Afghanistan until Indus River or something. He had a war with Indians, and on his way back in Babylon, which is within the borders of Iraq today, he died there at the age of 32 after 13 years of reign. Just looking back in my life, what I've done within the last 12-13 years and compare it to what he has done, it just feels pathetic. When it comes to conquering places, I think he was second to only Genghis Khan. Other than Genghis Khan, no one did so much within such a short time period. Of course, there are Roman emperors and Suleiman the Magnificent from Ottomans, or we can name some other names, but I don't think any of those would come anywhere close to what these two people did in the history. So yeah, this guy went out there and did it all and died at the age of 32 because of an unknown illness in Babylon. Back to Tajikistan. With lots of mountains, glaciers and so on, the place has no shortage of rivers as well. But the most interesting thing to me within this region, not just Tajikistan, is that there are snow leopards in these mountains. Mostly in Afghanistan, but partially also in Tajikistan. You can find snow leopards in the nature. There aren't many left, and it is really hard to get to them and film them, considering how well camouflaged they are and the terrain they are roaming. It is very challenging, but there are some documentaries where you can find great footage and a lot of information about their life. They are just beautiful. They are just gorgeous looking animals, and the way they move, the way they hunt, run on those cliffs, it is just unbelievable agility they show. And I think it is one of those that we shouldn't lose. I mean, if you want to save some animal species, I would put the snow leopards on top of that list. Meanwhile, I hope you are enjoying the scenery. We have been driving through the mountains as I was talking, and it looks pretty nice. We didn't get to a spot where we can see a bit far away from a high location, but let's move it a bit and see what's ahead. So we are almost at the Kyrgyzstan border. I'm gonna make some photos here before leaving the country. Let's see if they'll come out any better. I don't know if it's related to making photos, but sometimes I'm having this issue with the sound just for a short while. It also happened at the border between Turkey and Georgia, so maybe it's a border related thing instead of photo shooting. You can clearly hear the annoying, scratchy, static noise kind of thing at the background. It's really annoying. If anyone has an idea why it's happening, please let me know. Well, hello sir. I'm carrying canned sardines from Germany to Kyrgyzstan. I don't know why, but someone ordered it. I'm just doing my job. Thank you. Well, that worked. Let's see what the Kyrgyz say about it. Hello, Kyrgyz brothers. I'm bringing some canned sardines for you from Germany. I know, it's a messed up deal, but let me in. Please let me in. Thank you. See you later. Bye. So we are in Kyrgyzstan. Of course, we'll talk about Kyrgyzstan as well. I don't know if Alexander the Great made it here as well, but that's for the next video. Now, Leclerc is getting really tired again. We need to find a spot to sleep. I just hope it will not be as hard as the last time. Well, this time we quickly found a place where we can rest, but finding the exact spot where I should park got kind of tricky. When I'm blocking the road, it lets me turn off the engine and go to sleep. When I park nicely, it doesn't let me. I guess I'll just park it on the side of the road and call it a day. I hope you enjoyed the landscapes and the information I shared with you. I also asked the question in the video. I don't know if anyone will see it and try to answer it, but the answer and more such questions will be in the next video. Other than that, I must admit something. This video should have been out there for a week already, but I had some problems and it took longer than I planned. So we used Charles Leclerc as driver of the day, but the next F1 race is already over and the winner is Oscar Piastri. But we will use him for the next video and I will try to catch up and post another video this weekend. Until then, take care.